All right, guys, welcome back. Quick market update. Today was honestly one of those days where the entire narrative flipped halfway through the session. Everything this morning was basically about oil and the situation with Iran. So, before we jump into the charts, I want to quickly show you three headlines that basically drove the entire market today. Now, overnight, we saw a huge spike in oil. Crude pushed above $100 a barrel, and at one point it was actually pushing towards the 110, 119 range. And the reason the market reacted so aggressively is because traders started pricing in the risk that the Strait of Hormuz could get disrupted even further. And that's a big deal. So naturally, oil spiked and the market started getting nervous. But then the narrative started changing. Later in the day, we got comments suggesting the US might actually take control of the Strait of Hormuz to keep shipments moving. Now, that immediately changed how traders interpreted the situation. Instead of thinking we were heading into a long supply disruption, the market started thinking the crisis might actually be stabilizing faster than expected. And that's exactly when oil started reversing. Once those comments hit the tape, oil sold off pretty aggressively, and at one point, crude was down around 10% from the highs. So, what started as a panic spike turned into a pretty sharp reversal once expectations about the conflict started shifting. And that oil reversal is what ended up driving the entire stock market recovery today. Now, if you look at the oil chart, you can actually see the exact move play out. Early in the session, oil was ripping higher as the market priced in supply risk. But once the narrative shifted, oil rolled over pretty quickly. And when oil drops like that, it usually takes pressure off the broader market. That's exactly what happened today. The Nasdaq bounced, the S&P pushed back into positive territory, and volatility cooled off pretty quickly. So, what started as a risk off geopolitical day turned into a pretty strong intraday recovery. Now, let's quickly go over a couple trades from today because the volatility actually created some really clean setups. Let's start with TURB, TURB. Starting with TURB, if you remember from the previous video and what I mentioned in the Discord, $4.65 was the key level to watch for continuation, and that's exactly what happened. Once $4.65 broke, the stock gave a really clean move straight into the 6 to 645 zone. Now, if you zoom out at the daily chart, there's still a bigger level on the table around 750. Right now, the stock is sitting near the support zone in about the 450 and 525 area, as you can see right here. So as long as that zone holds, in my opinion, the higher levels are still technically in play. Next up, we have TMDE. Now, this one was alerted around $3 in after hours on Friday, and today in pre-market it pushed up to about 353. So that give a quick opportunity to lock in some profits. And this is something I always say with oil-related stocks: when those quick moves happen, it's usually smart to book profits along the way instead of just holding a huge position expecting a massive extension, because with oil names especially, one headline can completely flip the trade, which is exactly what we saw today when oil collapsed intraday. So going into tomorrow, the main sectors I'm still watching are AI stocks, biotech, and energy storage plays. Those areas continue to have the most momentum and headline for right now. So we'll see what setups develop tomorrow. But overall, today, this was a really good example of how markets behave during geopolitical events. When oil spikes, the market panics. When oil drops, the market rallies. And today, we basically saw that dynamic play out in real time. And that's it for today's update. I'll see you tomorrow.